Everybody to the Sarpy County and City's Wastewater Agency meeting. Today is December 10th, 2025 at 4 p.m. Hi, Kathleen, what's up? This is a public meeting. We're going to hold the meeting in accordance with the rules, and the rules are posted on the north wall of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act. And if anybody here wants to talk on any agenda item, we're happy to allow you to do that. But I don't see anybody that's from the public here, so that probably won't happen. But anyways, in attendance today, we have Kathleen Gotch, the Springfield City Administrator. We got the Mayor of Gretna, Mike Evans, the Mayor of La Vista, Douglas Kendig, the Mayor of Papillion, David Black. I'm Don Kelly, Sarpy County Commissioner. The Mayor of Bellevue had a family emergency and won't make it today. Our Administrator Dan Hoynes is here. Our Project Engineer Jeff Thompson. Our Legal Counsel is here. Adam Charlson. Our CFO Mark Sethout's here. And Lisa's going to run the meeting. Let's stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any comments from the agency board? Okay, then we'll get right into the staff updates, starting with Dan Hoynes, Agency Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, member mayors, Kathleen. Just a couple of brief things I have today. It seems like it hasn't been a whole month, because it hasn't been a whole month, just a few weeks here. But today's agenda is primarily addressing the audit for the previous fiscal year that ended on June 30 of 2025. And a couple of comments for that too. I'd like special recognition first to Mark Sethout, who's been with us a little over a year. Not just Mark, but Lisa and Jeff both did a really tremendous job. It's no easy task putting those things together with such a small staff sitting around here, but having Mark on board to quarterback us and Lisa to keep us organized and Jeff to give us all the springs in the watch, if you will, it really made for a smooth process. And if you accept this is the first time we're presenting it to you as an agency that's been in effect for 7 years before the end of the fiscal year, which is or end of the calendar year. And so I think that is progress, but wanted to specifically call those folks out, along with Tim Lenz and his team from BKDV. They've been very patient. They have to hold our hand a little bit as we go through, but they've given us really good guidance moving forward, and they're not afraid to tell us where we need to improve, and I genuinely appreciate that. The only other thing that I have to add is a few weeks ago, we had a request to do some research, or for Adam to do some research on the use of personal or agency vehicles to take home. Adam completed that analysis. He's provided it to me, the chair, the vice chair. They've tasked me with drafting a policy to come up. I did determine that the way we're currently using our one take-home vehicle, there is some taxable implications for that. But depending on what policy position you folks adopt in January will depend on those taxable positions and whether or not we have that. But wanted to let you know that's out there. Do have a draft policy put together that I'll work with the chair and the vice chair on, and the actually I think I'm presenting it to the agency administrators tomorrow in a draft, so they can give me some feedback, so we'll have plenty of lead time. It will our policy will be establish a criteria that's compliant with the IRS and all other issues for a take-home vehicle. So there could be other things to talk about, but those are really kind of the key things moving up into the fiscal year. So with that, I'll answer any questions you may have.
No questions, just a comment, maybe a suggestion. On yesterday at our county board meeting, we adopted a policy on the use of government vehicles. You might take a look at it and see if any of it's usable or meets our needs, because it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I did pick that up actually and sent that to our team, and we're meeting tomorrow, I think at 2, to review our policy internally, and I forwarded the county one and asked for a review to see where there's where it makes sense for us to adopt something similar in the process. So
Yeah, we left all that IRS stuff out of it.
Yeah, I read through it, and we're going to kind of look at what works for us and what we think the best policy positions are, but
Okay, thanks,
point
Dan.
taken.
Any questions for Dan? You got anything else now?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Jeff, engineering update.
Chairman Kelly, agency member, Mayor's Jeff Thompson, project engineer for the agency. Again, as Dan said, it's been a pretty short month for us. Don't have a whole lot to report of any substance, but we have been receiving some preliminary and final plat applications from both the Sarpy County and the city of Springfield in relationship to developments. So we've been actively working with those two communities to review those and get them our feedback and comments associated with connection fees and what our expectations are there. So business as usual for the most part. Won't take up a lot of your time, but happy to answer any questions you might have here this afternoon.
Anything for Jeff?
No.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Okay, financial dashboard. Mark.
Okay, good afternoon, board members. I'm Mark Setout, agency treasurer. I'll present the dashboard here shortly, but I wanted to touch on a few things first, if I may. I gave everybody a handout. I'm going to kind of walk through some of the highlights on there. During my treasurer's report in November, we discussed the appropriate level of cash liquidity that we should be maintaining over the last several weeks. I've been conducting further analysis on what levels of cash should remain liquid. Based on my analysis, I would not recommend tying up additional cash beyond the $2 million that we already have invested in the CD for the remainder of this fiscal year. Keep in mind, we look at as we look at our cash balances on the dashboard today, 50% of that $10.3 million in cash on hand is already committed. So $2 million of that is in the CD investment. We have $1.5 million in annual debt service payments that we need to make for SRF. We also need to have a reserve loan balance of $1.5 million for SRF, and the WIFIA reserve balance is at $594,000. So for reference, this cash breakdown is also included on the balance sheet report. That is part of the financial packet we provide to the board each month. As part of the fiscal 26-27 budget process, I will work with the chair and vice chair to identify any potential longer-term, higher interest investments we may want to take at that time. The other point that we discussed, Mayor Kindig requested format changes that would add another column to the dashboard for the current revenue and expenses for the month. I will work on a draft dashboard with that feature, planning to get that out for review in January. One concern to think about is adding too much detail to the dashboard can drown out the high-level information we are trying to show in a short presentation, so sometimes more data can create more noise. And also for reference, the data that Mayor Kindig requested is listed in the financial packet we provide each month to the board, and that is on the statement of revenues, expenditures, and change in fund balance report. So just to wrap that up, the agency is committed to maintaining a high level of financial transparency. And to that point, we did reformat the claims report this month, and I'm going to pull that up here so you guys can see that. The previous report was a bit difficult to read and figure out what expenses were up for approval, as there were bill payments approved from the previous period, commingled with the current month's claims. So Dan and I had talked about this several times, and I know that Chairman Kelly had mentioned the issue as well. So we built a custom report to serve our needs, and this new report should fix those issues. While reviewing the claims report this month, you should notice that all the vendor invoices for payments are listed first in their own section. And those are all listed together. And then in the second section is payroll and benefits. Then we have all the credit card transactions for the period, and then miscellaneous expenses. That can be web payments or direct debits for utilities, internet, and trash services that don't fall into one of those three categories. Any questions before we move on to the dashboard? No? Okay. All right, so this is the Wastewater Agency's monthly financial dashboard report for the period ending November 30th, 2025. This is the same standard format for the last few months. We have the current cumulative data for the fiscal year is highlighted in blue on the left-hand side of the dashboard, and historical data, same period from last year, is on the right-hand side highlighted in gray. We had minimal changes as far as monthly revenues and expenses are concerned due to the shortened period because of the holidays. Starting off with revenues, connection fees remained unchanged from last period, still holding at $1.9 million, or about 208% of budget for the year. That's tracking below what we had this time last year due to that $2 million meta payment we received in October of 2024. Flow revenues are keeping pace with budget. We have billed $338,000 for the year, about 43% of budget. We are about 42% through the fiscal year at the end of November, so right on track there. And of course, there were no flows this time last year. All the other income line items remain unchanged from last month, except for interest income. We collected about $12,000 in interest income from the 5 Points Bank business checking account for November. We are falling slightly behind on budget there due to lower interest rates on that account, and we plan to make that difference up with the $2 million that we have invested in the CD. The miscellaneous income line item there, that's $70,000 from OPPD and $45,000 back from the Jetta Trumbull settlement. We had noted that in previous periods. Total revenue is at $2.6 million, or about 86% of budget. Last year, we had higher revenue at this point in the year, primarily due to the grants that we received for the project. Moving on to expenses. Total expenses were about $1.97 million, or about 9% of budget so far, as again, we're 42% through the fiscal year. So our expenses were significantly higher last year at this time because we were still working through phase one of the project. Our expenses are significantly lower than budget this year because we continue to work through the WIFIA modification process, so we haven't had any substantial project costs. Net income has tracked negative for the first time this year. That's due to the $750,000 SRF invoice that we received in November and is set to pay December 12th. That's listed in the claims report. Loan balances, the two SRF loan balances have been reduced by the amounts we were paying out on Friday. That's the $750,000 shown on the right-hand side under the debt service payments section. And the WIFIA loan ticked up about $20,000 for minimal project-related costs. One thing to note is that the $20 million WIFIA number includes $695,000 in accrued interest and the $19.5 million in loan principal. Pilot funds remain unchanged since the previous period. Cash, not a whole lot changed here from last month. We have the $8.35 million in the 5 Points business checking account, $2 million in the CD, which is also with 5 Points Bank, and about $19,000 in payroll to end the month of November. That is all I have for you today. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
You mentioned the WIFIA modification. Where are we on that process?
I would defer to Jeff or Dan for that.
I have persistently been following up with the federal government, obviously with the shutdown. It's taken a while. I was supposed to have a draft from their legal team the Friday before Thanksgiving. That did not come. Been following up here the last couple weeks, and they said it's forthcoming, but haven't pinned down any definitive date. So I hope before the end of the year.
Yep, thanks.
Sure.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, that gets us to the consent agenda. We got 2 items. Unless anyone wants to move to the regular, I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by LaVista, second by Papillion. Any discussion? Please vote.
Yeas 5, absent Bellevue. Motion carried.
Okay, on to the regular agenda. First item's a presentation. It's our audit report. Tim Lenz, Bergen KDV.
Good afternoon. Yeah, thank you for having me this evening. Tim Lenz with Bergen KDV. As Dan had already previously mentioned, we did the audit for the fiscal year ending 6/30 of '25. So in your packet, you have 3 documents, and I'll explain those in a little high level here, and then we can dive in deeper if you guys have specific questions. But first thing to bring to your attention, the financial statement audit. That one, pages 1 through 3, we give an unmodified opinion over those financial statements, meaning that those financial statements as presented are materially correct in accordance with standards. Following there, you'll see the actual financial statements that are on page 9 through 11. Those are the financial statements that we opine on and we audited. Prior to those is management's discussion and analysis. That is a narrative to those numbers to help you as the reader to understand those numbers and what's going on in the agency, and then also a little brief paragraph or so on what's upcoming in this next fiscal year that you're currently in. Following the financial statements themselves, starting on page 13, are the notes to the financial statements. Just gives more language to how transactions are recorded in the financial statements, and also give a little bit more detail of balances that are shown there, such as your capital assets and long-term debt. Following all the notes, there's other supplementary information. We present a budgetary schedule, which shows your actual compared to the adopted budget that the agency adopted. We do perform a test over compliance, and happy to report that the agency complied with the adopted budget. The district did expend more than $750,000 of federal funds, $14 million approximately during this fiscal year. Due to the federal shutdown, the Office Management Budget did not issue their 2025 compliance supplement, which is the rules that we as auditors have to follow and audit those federal funds. That was issued November 26th. We were able to wrap up our testing, and that's why you have 2 separate reports this year with a single audit report and a financial statement audit report. Speaking on the single audit report, similar results there. Have an unmodified opinion on your compliance with those federal programs that we tested. The 2 programs that we tested this year were the coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds and the congressionally mandated projects. So 2 major programs this year. So using that newly issued compliance supplement, we've tested those material compliance requirements and determined that the agency complied with those. In both of those reports, we do have our report over internal controls over financial reporting, as well as a schedule of findings and question costs in those. Similar to prior years, we have a significant deficiency due to the size of the agency staff. It's nearly impossible to segregate all duties. And as Dan alluded to, we do work with you guys to try to find improvements to alleviate that risk, but just our obligation to communicate that to you, that there is a risk there. We don't have necessarily errors that are occurring, but just something to be aware of, that there are conflicting duties. And last year, we had material weakness due to material journal entries. That has improved. We now have only a significant deficiency due to some journal entry. So it's been pleasant to watch the agency grow over the several years. As Dan said also, that this is the first year we've actually issued it, and I've presented in December. So kudos to the whole team, Mark, Jeff, Lisa, Dan. Pleasure to work with them. I know they're always focused on making improvements and always want to know how they can improve. So that's always a good thing to see. So, but the third item that is also issued is just our communications letter to those charged with governance. So just required communications that we have to have with you all. No injurious issues in there, just required communications. So happy to open it up to questions.
Questions for Tim?
No.
No, I think we're good.
All
Thank
right,
you for
make
your
it
work
easy,
on
Mike.
this. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, last item before our executive session is Resolution 31, authorizing the agency board and agency treasurer to act on behalf of the agency board in the event of a regular meeting. I guess this is
Motion to
signing
approve.
time. Huh?
Motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Papillion, second by Gretna. Please vote.
Yeas 5, motion carried.
I didn't want you to have to think too hard, Dan.
Okay, item 8, closed session.
For the protection of the public interest, I move we go into executive session to discuss contract negotiations,
Legal matter.
legal matters.
Okay, thanks. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by LaVista, second by Gretna to go into executive session. Any discussion? Please vote.
Yeas 5, motion carried.
Okay, it's now 4:22. We're going to go into executive session where discussion will be restricted to legal matter, and I think we'll just stay in here.
We got to do Zoom.
Zoom.
Are we back up?
Yep.
Okay, it's now 4:32. At 4:22, we went into executive session where our discussion was restricted to a legal matter. Need a motion to return the regular session?
So moved. Second.
Motion by LaVista, second by Gretna. Please vote.
I'm waiting for, oh, there we go. No. I'm waiting for somebody that hasn't voted yet. Oh, Mayor Blackgreen?
Yes.
Okay. Yeas 5, motion carried.
Okay, our next meeting is January 28th, 2026. Wish everybody a happy holidays. Hope you get to spend some quality time with your family and friends. And all agenda items have been addressed as published, and the agency board is adjourned.